You're a speaker and a writer, but you say all of these words and then you write these words sometimes as well. But what do they all mean? So for today, we're going to do count the fingers and thumb, 7 synonyms for bravery. Courage or bravery isn't just for the knights of old, it's also for people who jump queues, or also it's for people who answer the phone. It's also and for people who talk to strangers on public transport. Actually, the first one isn't brave, it should be punishable by death, and the second and third ones are just things that you kind of do in the world. Stop making memes about them. It's okay to answer the phone. That's a thing that you can do. So let's do the 7 synonyms, shall we? So the first one is balls. You may or may not have a pair of testicles swinging delicately between your legs, but I'm afraid to say that because of, history and the world and patriarchy and stuff, testicles have long been associated with having some guts or some courage. As most of you are aware, you don't really need to have testicles to be brave. Testicles, by the way, is a very fun way to... It's a very fun word to say, isn't it? Testicles. Testicles. Yes, you don't need testicles to be brave. So what would I like to do? I would like to suggest an alternative. If you are someone who owns a pair of ovaries, maybe say ovaries instead. If you have neither of those, then maybe just, find another synonym. The second synonym for bravery is spunk, which is not related to the first one that I've just done, tempting as it is to think so. Spunk actually comes from, I'm not sorry for that, spunk comes from the Scottish Gaelic for tinder or kindling. That word is spong, or I'm probably saying that wrong, but S-P-O-N-G. That in itself is a loan word from Latin. That word is spongia, which is of course the same word where we get the word sponge, meaning tinder or kindling, i.e. to have spark or spirit. That leads us to our third one, which is easily the oddest on this list, which is sand. I have to say, I wasn't aware of this one until a friend of mine made a call out to the Facebook community via her Facebook page asking what the bloody hell are these people talking about when they're talking about sand. She was watching Endeavour, which is a prequel to Inspector Morse, which is a television show about an inspector who's called Morse. The line went something like, "He ain't got the sand in him." That's my Cockney impression. Anyway, apparently that line makes sense to somebody because they wrote it in a television show. Oddly, for a British television show, this is likely a modification of a saying that comes from the United States, and that saying being grit. Like true grit, meaning bravery or courage, or some other example that I can't think of at the moment involving grit. Mark Twain uses it in his novel Huckleberry Finn, that story about a small white boy running away with a large black man. For all you knee-jerkers out there, that's an Easy A reference. It's funny because one is small and then the other one is large. Talking of small and large things, what about them intestines of yours? Our fourth synonym is guts. Now, guts are, if you lived in the medieval period and you believed in spirits and souls and stuff, all of that kind of stuff, then you would have believed that actually the seat of the spirit or the soul was in your guts. It's why today we still go with our gut, or we need guts to go and do something which might be a tad difficult. Do you like that one? I liked that one. I liked the bit where I said seat of the spirit because I imagined a spirit sitting on a seat in your guts. Segues or siegs, if you are me, a year ago into our fifth one, which is plucky, or to have pluck. You see, when you pluck a bird, you don't just pull its feathers off, you also pull its guts out. The last one leads into this one, and so we have pluck as a synonym for guts or bravery. Interestingly, this one first arose its head in the pugilism scene, which, if you're a normal person, you call that boxing. That leads us into our sixth, which is a favourite pastime of people who enjoy Friday night boxing, which is to bottle somebody. Actually, that's not related at all to what I'm saying. That's an actual bottle, and then you actually hit someone with. What I'm trying to say is that either you have bottle, or you've bottled out, or you bottled it. It's not the physical act of doing any of those things. It just means to either be brave or not be brave. You understand what I'm saying, right? It's been suggested that this is Cockney rhyming slang for bottle and glass, arse. But that's probably bollocks, so probably ignore that one, yeah? It's more likely to be connected with that other synonym, which is not on this list, so let's call this, what one are we on? 6. Let's call this 6A, Dutch courage, which is where you have a drink so that you can go and do something difficult or brave. It might be linked to that, but it also might be linked to an earlier piece of slang, which is to be good for nothing. So someone who didn't have bottle was good for nothing. Again, I don't really understand the roots of that. I mean, if you don't have a bottle, then you just don't have a bottle. I mean, do you need a bottle? Was that like a medieval thing that you had to have, a bit like ID? Is like show me your bottle when the police pulled. There were no police then. So yeah, I don't really know what that one means, but there you go. Bottling it is to lose one's nerve, or to have bottle is to have nerve. That's etymology, kids. Last but certainly not least is metal, spelled METTLE. Now you might think maybe this is a homophone, i.e. it sounds like metal, METAL, but it's not actually anything to do with metal, METAL. I can spell, but actually it turns out it's just an earlier spelling of it. So metal, METTLE, was just I mean, we've talked about this before in earlier videos. Basically, spelling has not been formalized up until maybe most spelling has not been formalized up until the last 150 years, and there are lots of writers in the past who actually interchangeably used different spellings for the same word, notably Shakespeare, who used both metal, METTLE, and the other one, which I keep AL. You know what I'm saying. That one's fairly obvious because metal is hard stuff, isn't it, that you can sort of hit people with. You can make swords and shields out of it, and sometimes tanks, and also cars, which you shouldn't hit people with. You should just drive them. I don't know where this is going. But also you can make other things out of metal which are also connected with bravery and hurting others, probably. Anyway, all of my sources that I've come up with, the sources not condiments but sources as in things which I looked up on the internet and then made this video with, you can find them in the comments below. If you're watching this on Instagram, then go to my YouTube page and maybe give that a follow. It's also called Puzzle Writer. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then I also have Instagram and Facebook, so maybe go and give one of those either a like or a follow. I'd be very grateful. One day I might do something interesting and then you would be grateful too. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week.